a sweet record of the little bee buzzing. In the garden in Grandma's garden lived a hard-working little bee, and everyone called her Buzz. She has a coat of yellow and black fur, like wearing a striped little coat. Her transparent wings make a soft buzzing sound when they flap. There are also small pollen baskets on her hind legs. Every day she flies around among the flowers, collecting sweet nectar and also helping the flowers spread pollen. At first, the flowers only knew that she could gather nectar. Later, they found that the buzzing pollen basket was filled with kindness. That early morning, as soon as the sun died, the petals golden, Weng Weng carried a flower powder basket and went out. She had just landed on a rose when she heard a soft woo cry. It was a newly sprouted daisy bud. It was so thirsty, but the soil at the root had not yet been moistened by the dew, and the leaves were a little wilted. Buzzing quickly squeezed out a little sweet nectar from the honey sac and dropped it on Yaya's leaf. Yaya, have a taste quickly. This can quench your thirst. Yaya drank the nectar, and the leaves gradually unfurled. She shook the little leaves at Weng Weng and said, "Thank you, Weng Weng. Your nectar is sweeter than dew. I have the strength to grow up." In the morning, while buzzing in the sunflower field to gather nectar, I saw the little butterfly Lanlin anxiously circling among the flowers. Lanlin was looking for the sweetest nectar, but she didn't know which flower had the fullest nectar. She was so tired from flapping her wings. Buzzing hurriedly flew over and pointed at the most blooming sunflower. "Lanlin, the honey of this one is the sweetest. I'll take you there. I also know many sweet flowers hidden in them." She took Lanlin to the rose and lily bushes. Before each flower, she would first help Lanlin taste it to make sure the nectar was sweet enough. Lanlin, having picked the nectar she was satisfied with, shook her antennae at Weng Weng and said, "Thank you, Weng Weng. With you leading the way, I don't have to search aimlessly anymore." At noon, the sun was scorching. Guago, a little ant in the garden, was carrying breadcrumbs with her friends. They were both tired and thirsty from walking and were panting heavily on a lotus leaf. When Buzzing saw this, it quickly flew back to the beehive, picked up a small drop of nectar, and placed it on the leaf in front of Guago. "Guago, drink it quickly. Replenish your strength." Guago and her friends surrounded the nectar, taking one sip after another. After finishing it, they had the strength to carry the breadcrumbs again and waved their antennae at Wengu. "Thank you, Wengu. Your nectar is more effective than breadcrumbs. We can work again." In the afternoon, Weng Weng found that the pollen of a dandelion was almost all gone. If no one helped it spread the pollen, no new dandelions would grow next year. Buzzing quickly landed on the dandelion, gently shaking the pollen from the pollen basket onto the flower stamens of the dandelion, and also called other little bees to help the flowers in the garden spread pollen together. Roses, sunflowers, and daisies all buzzed and nodded at each other, as if saying, "Thank you, Buzzed. With you by our side, we can still bloom beautiful flowers next year." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the garden orange-red. Buzzing carried the pollen basket filled with nectar back to the beehive, and together with the other little bees, turned the nectar into honey. She lay at the door of the beehive, looking at the scene in the garden. The little daisy bud had grown new leaves. The little butterfly Lan Lan was still dancing among the flowers. The little ant Squagoo had carried the breadcrumbs home, and the flowers were all smiling even more brightly. Buzzing felt sweet in her heart. Suddenly she realized that collecting honey every day was not only for making honey, but also could help Yaya quench her thirst, help Lan Lan find honey, replenish the energy of Guo and others, and help the flowers spread pollen. It was much happier than collecting honey alone. It turns out that even a tiny bee can, through its own diligence and kindness, become a sweet little messenger in the garden, bringing vitality and joy to every friend. When the moon rose, Buzzing was still in the beehive, sharing today's experiences with its companions, flapping its wings occasionally, as if recalling the good old days in the garden. The garden was quiet, with only the rustling sound of the evening breeze brushing against the petals. Because of the buzzing, this garden became more and more lively and sweet. Such days were sweeter than honey and more beautiful than blooming flowers,